On this Sunday morning in Prince George's County, something's brewing.
Hot water is sitting here, basically. The grain comes from the silo.
An aerospace professional by day, on weekends and nights, Elliot Johnson is co-founder and CEO of Sol Mega Beer. He has his sights set on growing his business into a worldwide brand.
I consider Sol Mega a craft beer startup. I think you're going to understand we're Black-owned by hearing me talk about the company like I am right now and seeing me more and more. Okay, he's the owner, he's Black. But I don't like to lean on that necessarily all the time. Not that I'm not proud of it, it's just that we're bigger than that, in my opinion.
In operation for 4 years, Sol Mega is a regionally distributed brew, currently sold in the D.C., Maryland, and Virginia area. Its business model is unique. Johnson comes up with the recipes, brews. Through Calvert Brewing, he then works with a distribution partner. Johnson sometimes collaborates with other breweries, which gives Sol Mega a deep bench of varieties.
We're selling our pale ale, and then our black lager is more of a seasonal. But we've made imperial stouts, we've made saisons, we've collabed with breweries like 3 Stars, Right Proper. We've collabed with City State. We made a cider collab with Ancho that beer hops was pretty good. So we've kind of been flexing our muscle on different beer styles.
Courtney Romani is a co-founder of the Black Brew Movement, a group of young Black professionals who love all things beer. Romani says she wants to drive diversity in the industry and is all for Johnson's vision to make good beer while generating heavy revenue.
And that's something that we have a personal interest in Black Brew Movement is the commerce element. So whether that be Black people who are consuming beer or the Black people who are making beer. And I think that right there is the bedrock to us understand how people can maximize, their earning potential or their spending, potential in the craft beer space. Knowing that from a producer standpoint, knowing how to attract, this particular consumer base, because there's money to be spent and there's money to be earned.
Black people have long been represented in the beer industry, just not necessarily as the front office or the craftspeople in charge of making it. Johnson's father was a beer industry executive, but he may have been an exception.
Because I feel like there's a lot of people who work in the back of the house of warehouses, fulfillment centers, delivery drivers, they tend to be usually African-American, right? But for brewers and brewery owners, not so many, because you don't see anyone like you doing this before, and the access to capital is fairly high relative to what you're trying to accomplish. If you don't have the money to open your own brewery, or you don't know anyone who's done this before, it's kind of hard to just wake up one day and be like, oh, I'm gonna be in beer.
Low representation in the industry is getting better, but it persists.
When you talk about the craft beer industry and then Black people in the craft beer industry specifically, we always talk about that less than 1%. And we feel that less than 1% is also reflective of the general interest of the Black population at large. We really believe that creating more touch points is a way to get more Black people familiar with craft beer, and ultimately it's going to lead to more Black people being involved in the craft beer industry.
From lagers to ales, there is something for anyone willing to try.
Most of the beers that everyone knows fall into the ale categories. You have your IPAs there, your pale ales, you have your pilsners. All those beers fall under the ale category, and lagers are in the other category. And then from there, you have a plethora of different flavor profiles, different styles, etc. You could really go down a rabbit hole getting into different beer styles. I think one of the beauties of craft beer is it's artisan, and you can make it as high or as low level as you want, depending on who the brewer is and what the brand's mission is.
Johnson accepts that some people might have to be convinced that craft beer is for them. With thousands of other breweries competing for the consumer's attention, Johnson makes a point of connecting directly with beer enthusiasts and potential consumers through marketing, educational events, social media, and by word of mouth.
Your brand got to be popping, because there's 1,000 beers on the shelf. Why do you stand out? What I've come to find out is usually people do like beer, they just don't like sours. They like chocolate stouts because they like dessert. Or they prefer a Belgian style beer that's stronger because they can drink one with a buzz versus 5 Coronas. So it's kind of like meeting people where they're at, getting out into the community and just putting the beer in front of people that wouldn't normally see it.
Johnson says the Sol Mega brand is not just a beer, but a mindset.
The idea behind Sol Mega is to represent individuals who are pursuing their passion with relentless effort and drive. So whether you're an artist or an athlete or someone who's pursuing an educational background, if you care about it and you're trying to push yourself to the next level, you're a Sol Mega.
Johnson is working to upend preconceived notions about who drinks craft beer and whose palate it accommodates.
I like where craft beer is going now with the various flavors and the different demographics of people who are getting exposed to it, and different neighborhoods that are popping up with these breweries and stuff, because I think we're gonna get a chance to change the narrative, especially for a Black community.
A huge development for Johnson in 2022. He placed Sol Mega in 3 large chains in the D.C. area: Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, and Streets Markets. He's placed no limits on the future for his beloved craft beer.
I definitely see us being like household brand in the craft beer space. I think we'll be in various markets throughout the United States that are heavily, densely populated with successful young professionals and where all the action is. I see us having multiple product lines. I see us having potentially multiple retail locations.